Hi, welcome to From the Archives, episode 11 here at the Arab American National Museum. Remember, my name is Elissa. I'm the archivist here at the AANM, and today we also have a guest here, Mason Christensen, the archivist over at the Dearborn Historical Museum. And the reason we brought Mason out here today is because we are going to be talking about Dearborn and Dearborn history, and that's because this weekend is Dearborn's Homecoming Festival. Homecoming is a beloved tradition in Dearborn. It's in its 38th year. It's a fun festival with rides and games, and it also celebrates the ethnic diversity of the community. There's historically been an Italian-American tent and a Polish-American tent, and for the first year, we're actually adding an Arab-American tent, sponsored by the museum and our parent organization Access, with food and music, and it should be really great. So we pulled out here a lot of items from Dearborn's history, specifically pertaining to Arab Americans in Dearborn, which, as many of you know, is a very large population in the city. And that population really started in the 1920s with the building of the Ford Rouge plant, and a lot of people came to work at the plant in the South End. We've got some postcards here from the plant, an image of the plant in the South End, and one of my favorite items, which is an ID card from an Arab American working at the Rouge plant in the 1940s or 50s. So this community started around that plant, and that was all in the South End, and Mason's going to tell us a little bit about that community.
Well, the South End, it was one of Dearborn's earliest major residential communities. It popped up right outside of the Rouge plant and grew really fast because the Rouge plant itself was rapidly expanding. The Rouge plant went from basically a farm field in the late 1910s to, by 1927, 100,000 workers were there. And so thousands of different people from different nationalities quickly came to the South End. If you look at this photo right here, you'll see a number of different languages shown in this school parade in the South End. Basically, you see everything from Romanian to Croatian to Arabic. You had so many people were needed at the Rouge plant that people from all around the world were able to come to this one little tiny neighborhood. But as the decades wore on, the community changed ethnically, became more Arab American focused. You have up here these school parades photos. This one particularly right here shows mostly Lebanese kids who were in the parade in the 1990s. We have this photo over here in a newspaper clipping that shows Arab American businesses along Dix Avenue in the area.
So the South End community and throughout Dearborn has had a thriving Arab American population, and of course we can't talk about Arab Americans in Dearborn without talking about food. We've got some of the best Arabic cuisine in the country around here. So pulling from our archives, we pulled out a couple of different menus from different restaurants, as well as some images of grocery stores and restaurants. This one is from the famous Masri Sweets. So Dearborn's Arab American community is a large part of what we have at the archives here at the AANM, but of course over at the Historical Museum they have more than items just about Arab Americans, and Mason's going to tell us a little more about what they have.
Well, over at the Dearborn Historical Museum we have a lot of great general Dearborn history resources. Everything from early family histories in the area, stuff on the first settlers that came to Dearborn, but also items about buildings in the city. For example, we have these nice historic building survey cards that talk about when particular historic buildings were built in the city. If you look at this one, this is interesting because this shows photos of the building that later became Alamir Restaurant before it was actually renovated. We have also a lot of general school resources related to the city. Dearborn Public Schools has been nice enough to give us things like yearbooks. For example, here, this is the 1987 Fordson yearbook. We also have a lot of general school photos. This one shows the groundbreaking for Fordson High School back in the 1920s. If you look at the photo, the mayor of Fordson is actually using a shovel that is now on display at the school itself. This thing here is an 1859 school teacher contract from Dearborn Public Schools. So it's one of my really favorite items in the collection. If you want to come to our museum and do a lot of local history research, we are open. The archives is open Tuesdays and Thursdays, from 10 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you want to visit our museum, we're open Monday through Friday over at 915 Brady Street. during homecoming, we're actually going to have the Commandant's Quarters building open at the corner of Monroe and Michigan, and it's this great building from the 1830s that if you want to learn about how Dearborn itself was settled, that will be open. We're also going to have antique tractors on display during the festival.
So we hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Dearborn history here today, and we hope you enjoy homecoming this weekend. Definitely check out that Arab American tent.